in the meantime, apparently Donald Trump, I mean, I don't know what amazes me more about this clip, that Donald Trump is asking, I mean, I guess Bill Gates is not a random person, but he's a fairly random person to ask about health questions. And now, with that said, I guess there was a conversation about vaccines, and sadly, Bill Gates notes that Bobby Kennedy had met with Trump at one point and was talking to him about vaccines. This is a point where Bobby Kennedy and I have, disagreed back in the day when we were both on Ring of Fire Radio, and we talked about it at that point. But here is Bill Gates just talking about how stupid Donald Trump is. I mean, I really don't know how to put this in any other way except for to say that the first level takeaway from this is that Donald Trump is an idiot. The second level takeaway is that he's probably been diagnosed with HPV and doesn't really know what to do about it.
What?
Then the second time I saw him was the March after that, so March 2017 in the White House. In both of those two meetings, he asked me if vaccines weren't a bad thing, because he was considering a commission to look into ill effects of vaccines. And somebody, his name is Robert Kennedy Jr., was advising him that vaccines were causing bad things. And I said, no, that's a dead end. That would be a bad thing. Don't do that. Both times he wanted to know if there was a difference between HIV and HPV. So I was able to explain that those are rarely confused with each other.
A lot of people don't know.
Well, there's a couple of things. There's a couple of takeaways here. One is Bill Gates really not interested in getting invited back to the White House. The other thing is that despite the fact that Donald Trump is a complete idiot, he's an idiot twice over. Because, I mean, if you have to ask that question twice, like if it's necessary for you to bring up that question one time, is there a difference between HPV and HIV, right? One is the human papilloma virus, which is asymptomatic in most people until women get cervical cancer from it. Not every woman. I think it raises the chances of women getting cervical cancer by 20 or 30%, I believe. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head. But it is now, and it was quite controversial during the Bush administration as to whether or not this vaccine would be put on the schedule for vaccinations, particularly for girls aged 12 to 15 or so, sometimes younger, because the far right in this country, the religious folk, felt that it was encouraging these girls to have sex, to have a premarital sex. If you were going to vaccinate them from the HPV, then they'll be more encouraged apparently to have sex, because they know they can get away with not having cervical cancer or something, which of course is the number one reason why people have sex, so that because you can't get cervical cancer from it. But the idea that he has to ask him twice, doesn't remember the first time,
Just making sure.
double checking to see if it changed.
You were sure. You heard me say HPV and HIV, right? You heard the question clearly. I just want to make sure.
I'm just because it's very important to be scientifically precise.
Gotta be.
I can tell the next time there's some like kids from like a middle school who had a science fair at the White House, what they'll be hearing about.
My friend.
A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know there's a difference.
Guess what, guys? HPV turns out not the same thing as HIV.
Bet you didn't know that. Oh, that's a cool volcano. Great work. Great work.